welcome back to the vlog. If you haven't been here before, my name is Heather and I run a small handmade business called Lemon Tree Corner, where I make bags and wristlets and project bags for makers like you. Welcome, welcome. In the studio this week we have something a little bit different because I have an oh shiny brain. While we were in Kauai and Greg was swimming with the fish and snorkeling, I thought it would be great to get my fish tank back up and running. I used to have fish all the time. My fish tank has been sitting in the garage, I believe, since we moved into this house 11 years ago. So the plan this week is to get it all cleaned up, ready to go. I've been going down the YouTube rabbit hole of fish keeping and what I need to do. And it sounds like it's going to take about 4 weeks to get the whole nitrogen cycle in the tank going, where the healthy bacteria grow so that I can get my first fish in there. So it's no instant gratification for this girl, but that's what's going on this week. I'm going to get that all cleaned up and set up and start that process going. And then also we're going to work on the Hawaiian quilt. So those are the two projects for this week. And hopefully I can get back to that Moroccan blanket. I just got another shipment of yarn. So I am 4 kits behind on that. I gotta get going on that, but trying to give myself a little grace and have some compassionate deadlines. It's summer, it's hot, don't really want to work on a blanket. So this will be an interesting project, and you'll see later on, spoiler alert, math is not my strong suit. So have a little laugh at my expense later on when I figure out that, the quilt isn't 24 squares by 24 plus 24 squares, it's 24 times 24 squares. And that means pretty much every piece of fabric I purchased on vacation, even the ones I wasn't going to put in the quilt, have to go in the quilt. Plus that only covers one side of the quilt. So that's a little annoying and something I really should have done the math on before I went there. I could have just purchased some more fat quarters to add in there. But that's okay, I think we have enough to cover it. So, as always, if you've watched more than one of these videos, I would appreciate it, love it, if you hit the subscribe button. We do content like this every week. Usually comes out Saturday morning, so you can grab your coffee or your tea and your knitting or your crocheting and just spend some time with me on Saturday morning. I would love that. And also, if you hit the like button or comment on the video, that really helps me because then YouTube puts me in front of like-minded people like you. So people who watch the same types of videos you do and content you do will have my content suggested to them. So that would be great. I'd love to keep growing this channel. We have 120 subscribers. Yay! So I'm really thrilled. That's just jumped up like by 20 in the last week. So that's really great, getting some momentum. And welcome to all the newcomers. I really appreciate it. And I hope you have fun here. We have fun here. Okay, let's get to cleaning and doing some math. Okay, so here we are in InDesign, and I've drawn all my little squares. I went through and looked at standard sizes for California king size quilts. And they suggest it should be like 100 by 108. So I went through and calculated that out. If I do 5-inch squares with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, then they're really going to be 4.5-inch squares in the end once I sew them all together. So I went ahead and rounded up to 24 squares by 24 squares just to make it really easy for myself to do the math. So I'm going to have 24 by 24 on the front side and then 24 by 24 on the back side. So I've kind of gridded this out. I was originally trying to do it on like a letter size piece of paper I could print out, but that's never going to be big enough. I don't think I'm ever going to print this out. So I just made it like 20 by 20. I just made up a size paper for myself here and did what's called a step and repeat. So they're all evenly spaced here. And what I can do now is audition the fabric. So first of all, I'm going to ungroup these so they're all their own little individual squares. I've made them fillable So I've got each of these squares can be filled with a photo. So then what we're going to do is we're going to place one of the photos in here, and you'll see it's like a full-size photo, which is not what we want. This is how big this photo is. So we're going to, can I do this with one hand? No, hang on a second. Okay, so as you can see now, we've got our original size photo is huge compared to this little square. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of draw it down so it's closer. It's still within the square there. And then I'm going to go ahead and zoom in so we can see what we're doing. Now I just realized, unfortunately, I did not take the photos at the right level. So you'll see how this is, you'll see how this is slightly slanted because I didn't take it directly over top of the fabric. But it gives us a good idea of what this fabric looks like. This also isn't a true representation of the size of the fabric square that I'm going to get, because it's a fat quarter and I'm just shrinking the photo down here. I don't know how much of this is going to be in a 5-inch square, right? So, I mean, it could be like this. It could be that only that's in the 5-inch square, and I'm going to have to play around with where I cut it. Like maybe I cut it here so that I get the Birds of Paradise colors in my square. So that'll all, you know, that's something I can't really determine till I cut out the fabric. So that's all part of the consideration here. I'm really just going to be playing with colors at this point to see if I'm anywhere near close. Like I know in this case that this is a blue background, and I'm not going to want two blue backgrounds next to each other. So maybe I come in here and I pick a green background, right? I also know, oh, we gotta zoom out again. Hang on a second. Okay, I also know that I had a whole pack of fabrics that had the same pattern, that they were kind of like the plumeria lays, all overlapped. So I don't want two of those next to each other either. So what I might do, and I don't know how much of that fabric is going to be showing, I might want to make them all, you know, I'm sure it's not that much because that's the whole fabric. It's probably more like that much is going to be showing for that square. So like those are good together because they're not the same pattern and they're not the same background color. So I'm going to kind of go through the whole quilt and see how many of these I need, see if I can get them all next to each other. Do I want to have one side be darker blues and purples? Do I want to just mix them all up? I don't know. So basically I'm going to end up with 48 squares on each side. Okay, so I've got like 41 fabrics going on here. That may or may not end up in the quilt. So that's pretty good. I mean, I could just make it easy on myself and do one of each of these photos. This is the binding, so we're not going to include that in that count. So I think that makes it 40. So you just get the idea that I'm going to have most of these fabrics represented in the final quilt if I just want to make it easy on myself and say 40. And then just pick out another 8 to be duplicates on each side. That might be the easiest thing to do. I'll just have to lay it out. I'm sure there's enough color variety that'll be going on. I just don't know if there's going to be enough variety between like these or all of these overlapping lays in different background colors. But they're all basically the same pattern. So I don't know if there's enough variety in there for me. Whereas these ones are all very different patterns. This one doesn't even look like it goes with the quilt. This one here. So I'm gonna have to lay that out and see it might be nice to have a little variety in there, or it might just really stand out because it's not like anything else. And then we've got our 3 leafy greens here, which I might want to duplicate just because there's not a lot of green. There's only one other green background. And then I've got kind of like the orangey reds here, which I don't have a lot of in backgrounds, but a lot of the flowers are orangey reds, so I might be properly represented there. I've got this fuchsia pink orangey red, and then this orange and this red. So it's just gonna, you know, not sure how that's gonna go. So let's set up the camera and get all the photos in here. And I can play around with the color combinations and see if I like it. And then that will determine how many squares I'm going to cut out of each of the fat quarters. There might be 1 or 2 squares of each fat quarter. There might be some where I'm like, okay, I want all of those green leafy ones to be duplicates, so I'm going to cut out 4 or 5 of those ones. This will just be a long process, so I'm not sure how long this is going to take me. But I feel like I have to have all this done before I can start cutting anything. And then I'm going to go measure the bed as well, because just because it's somebody else's standard quilt size for a California King doesn't mean that it's going to be the size I want. So I'm going to go measure the bed and make sure it overhangs as much as the one I like that I have on there now, so that I'm not totally screwing myself at the very beginning of the process. I might need to change the number of squares I have.
You're like a river in the dark. You stare me right, you lit the spark, and I can feel you tearing down every wall.
Wow. Okay, so that's 102 by 90. So that changes things a bit. Let's go do some math. Okay, so 102 divided by 4.5 is 22.6. So that's not bad. It can be a little larger than that. I like the round number of 24. 23 by 23 just doesn't seem right. Or 23 by, what did we say? 92 would be 20.4. So we'd be looking at 23 squares by 21 squares, which is kind of weird. Yeah, that's kind of weird. 23 by 21. Oh. Yeah, I didn't do that right at all, did I? No, I didn't. Because 23 by 21 is 483 squares. Is that correct? Oh, I hate math. I really hate math. That means I'm not getting 2 squares per fat quarter. I'm getting a lot more. Oh my God. Okay, let's rethink this whole thing. Yeah, that's a lot of squares, Heather. It's 24 times 24. But we're doing 102 by 92. Is that what I said? Well then, that changes everything. Oh, well that's enough for one side. Not enough for both sides though. Well, that sucks. Okay, good news is I have enough squares to make a front. So I will be using all of my squares, crap, to make a front. So I'm gonna have to do 12 squares of each fat quarter. I wonder if there's a good way to just make sure I repeat everything. Well then, that's kind of annoying. Yeah, helps if I do the math correctly. I didn't even think about how many squares that would be. I'm glad to hear that I can get 12 5-inch squares out of a fat quarter and not 2. So I pretty much have to use everything I bought in order to make this work. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Well, that means I'm gonna have to buy a backing fabric to go with all of this. Well, I wish I had planned all this out a little bit better before I went to Hawaii and bought all the fabric. I'm sure I can find a nice backing fabric online to use for this, especially since it's gonna be the back. I'll just find a nice print. I kind of like that dark blue one. Something like that would be nice, just because it's a big contrast to the rest of the quilt. And go from there. So, well, I'm really glad I did the math before I laid all of these out. Although I'm sure as soon as I laid out my 37 fabrics, I would have figured it out for myself. Because there's a lot of squares on this page, aren't there? Okay.
Come one, come all. You're like an early morning breeze. Your soft red lips and gentle tease. You must have been sent just for me. Come one, come all. Just when I need you, you set sail and navigate. But when I need you, you lift me up till we levitate. You're mesmerizing, hypnotizing. My eyes are set on you. Through the fields of young romance and under blue skies with an open glance, we're head over heels, filled with dreams. Come all, everything, just when I need you, you set sail and navigate. But when I need you, you lift me up till we levitate. You're mesmerizing, hypnotizing. My eyes are set on you. We can go wherever. We can be whoever. You and me. Just when I need you, you set sail and navigate. But when I need you, you lift me up till we levitate. You're mesmerizing, hypnotizing. And my eyes are set on you.
Yeah, I'm just finding these greens are really popping, and the fact that they're all in a row is bothering me. The fuchsia and the red kind of blend in a little bit more, although I'm seeing that they're in a grid pattern too. I don't know. These blues are bothering me though because they're like all really close together. There's nothing else that's really standing out to me as being too close together color-wise. Color-wise, I think it all works. It's just those batiks are really popping, especially these lighter green and then the blue. I think when it's all in a quilt, you're not really gonna see that much difference there. Okay. Well, let's take a break for lunch. Should be, well, actually lunch isn't arriving anytime soon. It's gonna be a while. I just can't concentrate right now because I'm getting hungry.
I feel like I've been here before, familiar with the view. This ain't nothing new. And every time that you walk through the door, I'm hit by the same old tide, blinded by the lights. And I'm going through changes, but it's easier with you. I'm going through changes, and so are you.
Okay, and here we have the finished quilt layout. I've tried to move the green and the blue batiks around just so it doesn't look so uniform. I might go back through and move these ones, like flip-flop some of those just so they're not in a line. I can definitely go boom, boom, boom. I can pull those out. They're sticking out to me. So I'll probably go back through and flip-flop some of those. But that's the basic layout. I'm feeling pretty good about the color distribution. The other thing to do before we start cutting out the fabric is to go ahead and take these, and I'm going to make little pieces of paper that I can wrap around the bundles with the numbers on them. So I'm going to take this one and I'm going to write down just the last three numbers, which is 693. So that'll just be a note to myself that when I cut out this fabric that says 693, I'll be able to line it up correctly with the fabric. So let's go in here and move some of these jarringly obvious grid patterns around, and then we can start cutting fabric. Okay, so we're going to use some vinegar to clean off the hard water stains on my old fish tank that's been sitting in the garage forever. I think since we moved in, I don't think we've had fish at this house, so it's been a good 12 years, or 11 years. So I went down the rabbit hole on YouTube and watched a bunch of videos, and they all suggest using white vinegar as a non-toxic way to do this. You can also use like CLR or something, but this is going to be better. One person suggested getting paper towels wet so that you could let them soak on there. You'll see here we have a lot of hard water stains, so this will just make that easier if I get this wet. Oops. That is not on a... That's not the right kind of spray bottle. There we go. I want the other kind of spray. So we're just going to get this mostly saturated. My husband has nicely put some ventilation in here for me because I hate the smell of vinegar. Long story short, I had a run-in with a mandolin. I was trying to make pickles and I was using a mandolin to slice the cucumbers, and it was going so fast I didn't realize how fast it was going, and my finger got in there and I had to go to the emergency room and get my finger glued back together because I cut the tip off. So ever since then, the smell of vinegar has been a big trigger for me. So should be able to just let this sit on here for a little bit. And should be good to go. Alright. I feel like that got soaked enough there.
Thought you'd be the one for me. Won't you tell me how you feel? I shared my dream with you until the morning. Everybody else have done it right. Coming out to see me try. As I turn away and cry, you run up to me and take my hand. I wish you were the one who made me whole, and I won't be turned. You and I should be the ones to learn. All I want to say, ain't no good to look the other way. Once again I'm on the run, far away from all the fun. It seems I'm bound to be away from you. I never meant to drive you off this way, and I won't be turned. You and I should be the ones to learn. All I want to say, ain't no good to look the other way.
Okay, here we go. Here's the fish tank. It's an old light, so I'm probably gonna get a warmer light for that. But yay, it's all set up. I can reorganize things as we go here, and obviously it's got to sit for a couple of weeks to get all nitrogened up. We gotta let the good bacteria grow in the tank, and had to order a new pump. I just went ahead and ordered a new thermometer while I was at it, a new heater, because I don't know if the old one works and I don't want a chance killing the fish. So we're just gonna start with a fresh heater, and then I might not need anything else. I wanted to get like a little pirate guy in a treasure chest, you know, where it bubbles up. But then I have to get a bubble thing and put it in there, and I feel like that's already enough going on. So I think I'm gonna fix the sail. Oh, the sail is not sailing, it's trapped behind the thing there. Okay. That's pretty good. And we will just wait and dream about the fish we're gonna get. I'll show you the fish I looked at PetSmart, PetSmart. And I've also got a little fish store down the street from me. So we'll go check out that fish store, see what they have, and give it a couple of weeks. Okay, well, I'll check back in with you guys in a later vlog and show you what it looks like. Hey everybody, so that's it for this week. Thank you for joining me. We got everything set up with the fish tank, so I have to wait 4 weeks now. And it's probably a good thing I have to wait 4 weeks, because trying to sleep with it in the bedroom, it's kind of loud. I'm kind of second guessing this whole thing. I've already invested some money in this. I might want to move the fish tank into the living room. Only problem with the living room is it's right in front of the window. The main window to the house, and it's between the dogs and the window. So, you know, in the bedroom, it's in a place where they can't even see it, which is great. I don't want them scaring the fish or maybe knocking it over if they're barking at the door and they jump up on the couch and bark at the door. So that's kind of a scary thought, but it is pretty loud in the bedroom. So we will wait. The hubby comes back from his trip tonight, so we'll see how annoying it is for him. I'm kind of getting used to it, but it's just one of those things. And then if it's in the bedroom, how often am I actually looking at the fish? Or maybe it's an opportunity for me to sit in the bedroom and look at the fish. So sit on the edge of the bed and have a moment of zen looking at the fish. We'll see how this goes, but I definitely have a couple of weeks while the tank is cycling to make up my mind on if this is really something I want to do before I purchase the fish, so that's good. And as you'll have seen, the quilt. Okay, so I can't believe I messed that up that bad. I especially can't believe that I didn't do this whole process and the math before I went to Hawaii. Oh, it's killing me. I know I can order fabric online. I can probably find like a really decent Hawaiian fabric to be the background, or to be the backing fabric for the quilt. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of disappointed, but we'll cut all the fabric up. Looking at it on the screen is kind of hard because it doesn't represent the actual size of the square, so it looks super busy on the screen, which is worrying to me. But once I get them cut and sitting next to each other, I know that it's going to look a little bit better. So next week we'll get everything cut out and get going on this. So it's been a pretty productive week, and I'm excited to see what happens with the quilt. I've never done a project that large before, so that'll be good. So I hope you have a wonderful week ahead, and if nobody's told you lately, you are a delightful human being, and you deserve wonderful things. So go out there and live your life to the fullest, and I will see you back here next week. Love you, everybody. Bye.